Now, the reason people come to this is because we make them feel welcome, right? Yes? This is where you say yes. You got your Ninja Turtle questions ready? Yes. Let's give it up for Renee Jacobs and Rob Paulson coming into Huntington. Come on in. Please. You guys have a couch?
All right. Good morning.
Morning.
Who out there are turtle fans?
Switch.
Oh, I'll try to make it work anyway. So, always ask the first question, first couple of questions. Is it okay to go if they record? Sure. Just one guy, leave me alone. No, hold on for 1 second.
Unless you're with the IRS, then please, just don't have this.
We're not here.
We decided to change this around this year. This is a joke, and we usually have a table, a panel, and now there's a couch thing at home. I don't understand it.
I need a booster seat.
So, I have 2 questions. First one, can you tell me about any upcoming projects that you're working on?
Well, as they say, I could, but then I'd have to kill you. It's really messy. You know, honestly, the thing I've got upcoming the most are new projects that I'm pitching as a creator, producer type person, which is very exciting, and coming to these events. Renee and I do so many of these, and they are never not wonderful. And I've probably done this year, I think, I don't know, maybe 10, and I got another 10 or so to go, and man, are they a blast. So this is, frankly, a big part of my job, and job in quotes, because we go home from every one of these events exhausted from saying thank you. I mean, who has that kind of gig? Maybe you. Yeah.
No, good luck. This job used to be called Full.
Got it. Fair enough.
Years ago.
Well, what about you, madam?
Things that I'd have to kill you if I told you. There's a couple of interesting projects that have come my way, but if you're on Instagram, I'll announce it when I can, and I'm sure you will as well. Same thing, Comic-Cons are incredible. We get the chance to meet you. You have no idea what you give to us when you come to say hello. Doesn't matter whether you want a signature or not. Just come up and meet us and talk to us. It really fills us up. We really love meeting you, and so this is a big part of it. And we get to be with our dear friends, which is even more wonderful.
It's really neat. We've been in a business the hardest part about our gig is getting a job. But once you get it, and then you work with people who you choose to have in your life as your personal friends, and they are your personal friends, and then you fly around a joint and you find out you have all these other friends who were at once called fans, but they're just friends whom you've not yet met. So now we have even more friends in West Virginia, and they all big turtles. I'm glad that they're a little tweaked. I'm glad they're tweaked, because we make money being tweaked. So,
Before we get started, I have one more question, because I've had the privilege of meeting so many fantastic actors and voice actors over the years. I rarely ask this. It's kind of a cliche question, but it's for both of you. Which voice do you get asked, not the most, but the one that you're like, damn it, do I have to do it one more time? The annoying one, the one that you hate doing.
None.
Really? None.
Thank you for asking us to do any voice we've ever done. Thank you. No, there's one character, even the voice of Baby Glenn at the end of Bride of Chucky. No problem, baby. We are so lucky.
Listen, if the biggest problem an actor has is saying, "Would you please do Carl at the end?" I'm in. You, as an actor, as a performer, we're both from Michigan, and you come out to California with a million other kids, and now we're maybe the oldest people, and we go around meeting all these lovely people. And frankly, if people are nice enough to come and see us, and they bring us here, and they treat us like gold, and we get to say, oh, I don't want to do that. Bullshit!
But you have to admit, because I know that we won't say on stage, because I need my job,
Right.
there are some
Well,
who do get a little, I'm sure you've met coworkers, let's say, or colleagues who do get a little aggravated.
oh yeah, but you know what? Again, bullshit. Forgive me, I'm gonna, well, we'll both
That's
want to
okay. You know,
If you guys ever are nice enough to do what you've done for us just today, and you stand in line and you an autograph or you just want to say hello, and the actor is dismissing, oh, I know, you want to be a voice actor, I know. Then you know what? Shame on you. Because I get it. If some people don't want to be at these events, not everybody is so extroverted, they aren't comfortable with this. Great, then don't show up. But if somebody is nice enough to fly you here, often with your significant other, put you in a nice hotel, everybody's sweet, you get in the back door, and then they give you food, then if you're here, then be here. And forgive me, but I feel very strongly about that. We asked for this.
yes, I agree, but
And I have to tell you that unfortunately the rest of our cast couldn't be here, but we are all so indebted to you and grateful and thankful, and we all love being together. There isn't one person that I know of that would treat you guys rude. And you know, there's a new if you have, you know, not everybody has great days, right? You get up, you have a bad day. But there's a new kind of a catchphrase that I've been using, and it's really helped in a lot of ways. It's instead of, oh, I have to go grocery shopping, or oh, I have to go whatever, I gotta go to work, whatever. I say, I get to go. And sometimes you meet somebody you talk to somebody on the phone and they're just not very nice. And I keep saying, I get to talk to this idiot. But really, the positive attitude, anybody, and like Rob said, anybody who you come to a Comic-Con and you feel like you just didn't get the love, let the producers know. There's plenty of us who will be happy to take their place.
Oh, no kidding. It is nothing short of a privilege to be in our position, and we know it. We absolutely know it. And I'll tell you what, there will come a time when people don't want it. That's normal. That's the way it goes. Show business like this, you're riding high in April and shot down in May. And it's the way it goes. So we all get how fortunate we are to be in this position, and as long as it lasts, try and stop us. Thank you.
all right, none of you came here to see me, right? So who wants the first question? All right, Power Ranger, you were the first one earlier, and then I'll come over here. Yes?
I would like to ask.
If you want to come up a little bit, that's okay. I'm getting old to death.
There you go.
There you go, come on up.
Does your character fly? Can she?
That's good. All right, no, there you go. Go ahead, answer your question.
I got one question for Rob Lawson and Mutant.
Yes.
How does it feel to be voice actors for April and Raphael?
The question from this gentleman is, how does it feel to be the voice actor for April O'Neil and Raphael, and why? Would you like to start, ma'am? You're the beautiful turtle chick.
It feels great to have been April O'Neil and continue to. I can't do this.
You can stand up.
I'm having a big problem here.
I get to work with a Funko Pop.
So, I'll tell you, and Rob will say this too, we had no idea the effect that Ninja Turtles would have on the world and on you. And April was the first character I ever did that was a human being. I always did, flowers and puppy dogs and sprites and things like that. So April was like, gosh, she's tough, she's a reporter, she gets picked up and carried off, but she's not really that scared. And so I get to hear the stories of how April influenced especially the young women. And I hear about them having pretty tough times, and that the character really helped them through, helped them make decisions like going into the military, or being able to have a relationship with their siblings, their brothers. And because she could play April, they didn't pick on her. So the idea, and it's such a lovely question, how amazing that we get to hear these stories, and my character, more than all the goofy little characters I did all back then, had such a profound effect. So I feel very, very blessed, very lucky, and what a great character. I'm lucky.
You're talking about, in my lifetime, probably the most powerful franchise, with maybe the possible exception of SpongeBob, in terms of stuff that's been created since I've been around. But this franchise is 40 years old this year. And to have been part of that, as Renee said, you never know. And you sit down with a bunch of nice people, you get the job, you have a couple $100 million of someone else's money, and then you just take your shot.
We didn't make a couple $100 million.
Well, Renee, it takes Renee almost 2 years to make $100 million, so that's a joke, folks. But you just never know. And the transgenerational nature of Ninja Turtles is just remarkable. Already today, I've probably got half a dozen families where mom and dad are 40, 45, and they bring their kids and they all love Ninja Turtles. That is, to parents, of which both of us are, that is a compliment that is difficult to quantify, because it means you like it enough to want to share it with your kids, and you enjoy watching it. It's like my parents, we used to, and my siblings, Looney Tunes, Rocky and Bullwinkle, the Flintstones, Jetsons, all that. And my son, when he was a little guy, wanted to watch Muppets, and man, I could watch Muppets all day long. But if he had wanted to watch Teletubbies and Barney, I'd blow my brains out. Because I get why it works, but I couldn't sit there and watch it. But he said, oh no, I could watch Muppets forever. And the same seems to be true with Turtles. So that's a long, convoluted way to answer your very simple question, and it is an honor for sure. Yeah. Who else had that question? Yes, sir.
My question is for Mr. Paulson. I'm sure I've been asked this question before, but I'm everybody knows that you were Raphael in the original Turtles.
Yeah.
Back in 2004,
Okay, that was what was your name, sir?
Right.
Brandon's question was, most of you who were here from Turtles know me as Raphael, but in 2012 I slid over to the Don side, and so now I've been 50% of the Ninja Turtles, and if I lived to be 100, I could probably knock them all out. And your question was, which one is my favorite?
Well, why the change?
Why the change? Okay, firstly, thank you, Brandon, for suggesting in your question that I'm in control of it. Because that suggested I sit home and go, I don't think I'm going to, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll be down with it. No, it doesn't work. The story is fascinating, and it was a great reminder to me that I need to get out of my own way. I shouldn't worry about what other people think of me quite so much. If they want to talk to me or they want me, that's their business. I was 55 when my agent called and said, hey, Nickelodeon now has the rights to Turtles. They want you to read for Donatello. And my reaction was, do they know who I am? Not from arrogance, but because, they were younger, and I was Raphael when they were little. And so I thought, oh my God, I don't want to get there and have them say, oh shit, that's right. He was Raphael. And, let's throw the old guy a bone. He's here. And I said, I just don't want to be in that position to make them or myself feel uncomfortable. And she said, no, they know exactly who you are. They just think that you might be good for what they want from Donatello. And I said, well, yeah, I'll read for it. And I got the job. And the lesson, Brandon, was that I have no business worrying about why they want me to read. Do you want to read or not? Well, yeah, I want to work. Then shut your mouth and go And it was a valuable lesson, and it turned out great. That version of the show, I believe, is maybe the most complete version, because the people who made it were probably about 40, 45 at the time, and they knew everything about every other character that showed up in the comic books and all that. And there were even references in the comic book style of the Turtles that were featured, and especially in an episode called Trans-Dimensional Turtles, where we go meet each other at a different time. So, man, I was just thrilled to get another shot at it. And that's why. And if they happen to call and say, would you want to try Mikey? First thing I would do, like I did with Donnie, was to call Barry or Thompson and say, are you okay with this? Because they'll always be the originals. But it's an embarrassment of riches. Great question.
It's the most layered. I'm not going to say it's the best or anything, but it is definitely, out of all the Turtleverse, it is the most layered story.
Understood.
Yes, absolutely. Who had the next question over here? There was over there. Yes.
My question is for Rob and
Renee.
Renee.
You can just call her hot stuff. She answers
I'm
that.
already told whatever.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
So I'm just curious, when the live action film The Steve Barrett directed came out in 1990, this was like a real big height of the Teenage Mutant Ninja series as well. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on that live action film. Do you think they did the Turtles justice, and what you all were trying to do? Do you understand it was kind of a takeoff of what you were doing? I mean, how do you feel about the live action film? And was there any kind of bummed out feeling that they didn't ask you to voice the Turtles Rob?
Okay, well, you want to start with this?
Sure. You know, we're very excited when any iteration comes out, because it just means you go back to the original, right? You go back to the beginning, like Massini says. That was exciting. Personally, I didn't feel that the voices were strong in that movie. I felt everyone sounded like Michelangelo, and I was disappointed that they didn't ask the guys to do those voices. They could have directed them in a different way, but they really established those characters, and I couldn't tell the difference unless if I closed my eyes, I wouldn't be able to tell who was who. If you looked at the bandanas and the weapons, yes. So from that point of view, I didn't think that they did the Turtles justice.
It was a really great lesson in humility, because look, folks, we're really good at our jobs, but we don't draw them, we don't write them. This is a deeply collaborative, like any showbiz, you got live theater, going on tour, doing a cartoon. It takes 150 people to make an episode of Ninja Turtles, and probably $500,000. So we are an integral part of creating the soul and the voice of a character, but I can't draw stick figures. However, when Turtles came out and it was so enormous, there was, and we've all discussed this, there was an assumption to be sure that, wow, maybe we'll, you know what, how could they possibly, we're the guys, and they did. And it was a valuable lesson if we were ever predisposed to being arrogant. And we weren't. But there was like, oh my God, I'm attached to a hit and it's going like this. And they say, oh yeah, well the Turtles are famous, not you. So we're going to hire these people. And you know what? The movie made $1 zillion, and there was not one person that stood outside and said, well, wait a minute. Rob Paulson's not in this movie. You're not going to get my $10.
That's not true. Me too. Me too.
Thank you.
I had a sign.
Well, then there was one or two. Thank you. But you see our point. And as Renee said, and it is absolutely the truth, when something is that enormous, and here we are, oh my God, 35 years later, and it is still enormous. And still people want to meet the originals. And we could not be more thrilled. Seth Rogen made a movie last year that did great. He's making another one. I think there's another series coming out, probably another couple of video games. We are reaping the rewards of being the original, and that has no bearing on the success or failure of the other ones. If somebody says, I gotta tell you, man, I'm crazy about the movies that Michael Bay made. Good for you, and good for Mike. That's all it does is pour gas on the original fire. So it does keep you humble. It was good, and that's a really good lesson to learn for any actor. Thank you.
All right, let's get over here. Yes, sir.
Hi, I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite or most fun role you've ever done?
The question is, what is our favorite
Or most fun?
or most fun? Well, we're in the happy business. I mean, it's really difficult to say. I'm not being coy. If I had to, I love Yakko because I get to sing, and we're both singers before anything. Renee especially, she's a well-trained, really brilliant singer. But Ninja Turtles is just unstoppable. My son was 7 when Turtles hit. What a privilege to be in that position for both of us. Pinky, I get to work with Maurice, who makes me better. So what's your favorite?
Oh, you put her on the spot.
Pick one!
You were a big part of my childhood. There are way too many.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a great problem to
And
have.
22 now.
We're so grateful in any case, but in particular, I have enjoyed an embarrassment of riches. And the best part of it is I got to spend all this time with people who are still my best friends in the world. And we go to these events, and we just, you're kidding me, so many people love this stuff. So whatever you like, I'm in. And how about you?
I have to say the same thing. I mean, when people ask me, who's your favorite turtle? I always say, I can't tell you that, because I love them all. So if I've gotten asked to do a character, I'm thrilled. And I don't think there's ever been a character where I've said, oh, I don't want to do that again. Maybe a director,
Yeah, a couple of those.
you know, but not a character.
Now, and often people say, what is your favorite? Well, you just kind of did, but most fun, they're all fun. Because you're doing something that nice people are paying you to do, and frankly, you do it for free. If you were at home, you'd be doing community theater on the weekends. You know, you might be a stockbroker, but man, you're going to be doing Damn Yankees for a month at the Livonia Community Theater. But when people ask me, what is your favorite character, I say, and it's not really true, it's not really untrue, the next one, because it means we're working. We're very grateful to be even working actors. We're still in the minority of the Screen Actors Guild, so if you got a job, hire us.
I want to interject really quick. What's the voice that tears your voice the most? How about that?
Okay.
What's kind of the most difficult physically?
Great, that's a good question. For me, the voice that tears the character that tears up my voice is a character I'd love to do on Fairly Odd Parents called Mark Chung. Who's this weird like? You got Batamian alien. Who's in love with Vicky? The director and creator is Butch Hartman, another Detroiter. We're both from Michigan, Lansing, Detroit. But no, I love that guy. But often what we would do is save Mark for the end of the show. I would interact with the other actors because it's like doing a radio play. But then at the end of the show, I'd go pick up this because I'm good for about an hour and a half, and then I got to take a break. So that's probably the one that's most onerous. But it's a blast.
It's a really good question because you can see what that does to your vocal cords.
I think you did have tiny voices and things like that.
But I think the most rip-roaring was when I did Baby Glenn at the end of Bride of Chucky, because I had to do that over and over again. This, let's see if I can.
Yeah, listen to this. This is so cool. How does your mom make a living?
Hold on.
And I had to do that a few times.
Oh my God, you scared the shit out of me. I've been doing this for almost a decade. Did anybody actually see me jump? Fantastic.
I don't even know why they thought I could do that. I mean, I didn't even audition for the part. They just said, you're going in to meet, Bride of Chucky. I went, huh?
Yeah.
It was one of those.
Right.
Do they know who I am?
I know.
Yeah.
In and out.
Okay. But that's really interesting because, we can do anything, right? So you just say, sure,
Yeah.
why not? I could be a tomato. You just play in the sandbox.
Yeah.
So
much fun.
yeah.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes. I want to get to everybody's questions. Yes, sir, right there with the hat. I want to make sure that, the yellow hat.
What?
During the TMNT series, what was your favorite line?
What's your favorite line from the show?
From the original one?
The
Yes?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay. Well, from the original one, I loved saying a couple things. One of the witches, does the phrase "go suck a lemon" hold any meaning for you? And then when I meant Shredder, Shredder, you named yourself after a kitchen appliance? Like that. And then Donnie in 2012, I think my favorite line was, "Butt cannons? It has butt cannons?" That one, and "Are you trying to freak me out?" So those are both fun. Yes. How about you?
So mine is, put me down, you big ape! She said that almost every, she's getting carried off by another goon.
Yes, and she ended up marrying the first gentleman who did put her down because she thought he was so polite. So her husband, David, was the only man who said, "Oh, of course I will." Love it first.
First Carrie. And the other one is, this is April O'Neil, Channel 6 News.
We'll start right there in the back, sir with the glasses, and then we'll move our way around. Yes, sir. You stand up for me and project a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, say again? You want me to talk like Carl? People are thinking it's funny, you should see it from my side. I don't know what it is, but have you had a croissant today? No? Right. Well, all I can tell you is that I really love Mrs. Neutron, and I know that she's a lot over. And I also know that there's a fine line between funny and felony. I think I'm heading toward the latter. A scapula says Jimmy's mom has died.
What was it like working on Rick and Morty?
Oh, Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty. I did maybe 3 or 4, maybe half a dozen episodes, but my favorite episode was the first one I did, and it was the second episode of the entire series. And my first lines, as this character were, the lawnmower dog, which was that episode, is an example. Because Snowball comes in and he's pretty sideways about the fact that somebody snipped him and they didn't get his permission. And when you think about it, the fact that dogs, it's time for me to go get fixed, and I didn't ask for this, but oh well, c'est la vie. And he gets all the other dogs to kind of go, wait a minute. And he starts sort of mounting this insurrection.
Mounting?
Mounting.
Good choice of words.
That's right. Yeah, well, gotta make a living. But the dogs start to get like, you're right. Let's get our pitchforks and our torches and go. And then Snowball says, wait a minute, we're not like that. We're not evil like them. Let's pull it back. It was so smart. And in the end, you had a connection with the dogs, because you could say, wow, from their point of view, I mean, we are supposedly the bosses, but from their point of view, I kind of see that. Then, they're also more civil than humans. And it was a fascinating reminder of why we love animals so much, because they don't question anything, and they just love you. And it's pretty much this reflection and a sort of example of, maybe we should be more like our animals. It was pretty cool. So thank you for asking. Yeah.
All right. There with the Mario hat.
Hey, Mario.
There you go.
This is for Bob. Can you talk about working on the Lilo and Stitch franchise?
Oh, thank you. Lilo and Stitch. I played a character called 625, who was named Reuben after the sandwich because his experiments were making sandwiches. It was a blast. But here's an interesting bit of a backstory. This will tell you how wacky showbiz is. We did the first pile of episodes, and I was Reuben, and we did 10 or 12 of them. And then I got a call at home from my agent saying, Robbie, they decided they want to have a celebrity as this character, Reuben. No problem. I got paid. It happens. Not the first time I've been replaced. It won't be the last. And I thought, well, it'll be interesting to see who the celebrity is they pick. And I found out French Stewart, Dave Coulier, I think Fred Armisen, a couple different well-known people. And then they called back probably a month later and said, you know what, they decided they want to stick with you, and would you come in and do some more? Sure. So when I got in there, I said, well, I have to ask, who was it that you guys really got close to? Was there a guy that you decided not to but got close? Here's who they were going to pick. They were going to pick, what's his name? I can't remember, from the...
This is not the way to tell the story.
Jared. Jared, the Subway sandwich. They thought, well, he's all over the place. He's become like this cultural phenomenon. As a result of these commercials, he makes sandwiches. Oh, he's a pedophile!
Oops.
Sorry, Jared, but
You're going to jail. We can't record from
isn't
there.
that something? So, now, to be fair, this was before Jared got hot. But that is the level of, well, maybe let's do something different. We're going to hire a guy who's famous for selling sandwiches, because as though people would say, oh, I'm going to watch this more because the Subway sandwich guy. Now, fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, but just because you're an executive in show business, there's something called the Peter Principle, which means you rise to the level of your own incompetence, and you can fool people. So all of a sudden, you're in a position of authority at Disney, and you say, you know what? Hang on a second. How about that? Yeah, Jared, Subway. Dude, good, right on you, JP. That's why you're the boss. That is how random our business gets sometimes. But I believe Jared is probably still in prison. But I still go to Subway. So there you go.
Question for both of you all. After in 2012, you started after the movie.
Yeah.
Thinking these individual turtles have love interest in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So in the original, who would the one have the most?
Who would have the hots for April? In which you reciprocated? You go ahead. This is up to you.
Okay, guys. They're my brothers.
That's right.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah.
So, what? Okay. So because you grew up with, I get a lot of. April was my first crush.
Yeah.
So, what happens when little boys grow up, right? Okay. But April is always the sister to the turtles in my world, which is why I couldn't pick one to tell you which one I love more than the other. They're my brothers. So, good question, but I don't go there in my world.
I can tell you that this April is my current crush. But I think that I've had this discussion with a lot of friends, fans. I think the producers were very smart in 2012 to have this love triangle between Donnie, April, and Casey Jones. There's always something that is so sweet about Beauty and the Beast, unrequited love, when there's also a human character in the mix, and the little girl in the middle, like, oh, I love them both, and Donnie's like, it'll never happen. And I mean, it was really, and it was very smart on a commercial level, because there were a lot of girls who loved turtles, and kind of like, well, it's a boy thing, it's my secret thing, and they go, oh no, I love turtles now.
And a lot of guys who love April.
Then a lot of guys love April. And also there have been, there are a bunch of different turtle versions, but we see April versions where you kind of go, wow, this is the hustler version of April. Yeah.
Whenever somebody brings me one of those, and look, I get it, okay. But when you bring me one of those, you know where the signature's going? Right over the boobs.
Right over the boobs. And you have to write them really big. Yeah.
Really big in black.
Really big. But that is a really interesting question, because looking back on it now, it's 12 years, well, it ended in 2016, so you can look back at it, and the number of young women and guys, but the most people I signed Donnie signatures for are young women. And all I gotta do is say, oh my God, you're so much cuter than April. She's off the show. Come live in the sewer. And you go, it's precious. And it's the closest thing I'll ever get to being a teen idol. So thank you.
All right. Ironically enough, this kind of goes back to Ninja Turtles movies. The previous, one of the previous people mentioned the first Ninja Turtles movie. And I want to know your thoughts on the most recent one, Mutant Mayhem. The one that had I thought it was.
Oh my, yeah. This gentleman asked about how they feel about the latest Ninja Turtle feature from last year that Seth Rogen released, called Mutant Mayhem. And I'll be honest, I've not seen it. Not because I don't want to, I just haven't seen it. My son is in the video game business, and obviously a turtle freak. And he saw Mutant Mayhem, and he could not wait to tell me, oh my God, I love this. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in the world. And it speaks to what we love about this franchise. It was a different take. The characters looked different, the movement, the animation style, everything was different. And it opened up a whole new group of people who love turtles for that version. Moreover, every time we go to these events, we meet impossibly gifted young artists who draw these fabulous renditions of their vision of turtles. And we often find out that, the second grade teacher would call and say, hey, Mrs. Paulson, your little boy Rob is drawing the Ninja Turtles and he's not tracing. I mean, the perspective and the relation of the head, everything is perfect. Maybe you ought to keep an eye on this. And now they're making a living with their art, inspired by Ninja Turtles. That is on every level. Money, huge viewership, inspiration. Turtles is so unique. It ticks every possible box. It's crazy.
So I love that iteration. I thought it was really fun. I think you'll love it. But what I'm really broken up about, torn, emotional about, is The Last Ronin. And if you haven't read it, oh my God.
It's spectacular.
I mean, what happens with April and Casey, and what happened, I'm getting chills just talking about it.
Are you in a movie about it?
Yeah. And do I wish I would have been able to be April? Yeah. But that's just tears your heart out. I love it. It's beautiful, and it's going to be a completely different thing.
And you know what? when you got, well, I'd say when you're my age, but that means you gotta live another 127 years. Canadian, which is about 40, US. But this will still be, there was a young gentleman today saying, oh, I wish I had the original, 1990s pop figure to sign. I said, you know what, my friend? I'm gonna sign this for you now, and when I am dust, it will be a vintage piece. And it will be a big deal, because the franchise will still be going on.
Yeah. Okay, we only have time for more and more questions. I'm so sorry. They're going to be at the table the rest of the day and tomorrow. So
Come see us.
Yeah, come see us. You don't have to buy a thing. Just come say hi.
He's had his hand up. So
I was wondering if there was anything both of you learned on working on the original series that you took on and used in your career later.
Oh, what a great question. Anything you learned in the Turtles that you took on into your career, made you the fabulous star you are now?
That's a great question. You always learn something. I learned a lot from my castmates. April was kind of the straight girl.
Well, with Cam Clark, he would say, and trust me, I know straight. We love Cam. Yeah.
So I learned comic timing, and I learned spur of the moment, off the cuff, which April never got to use in the show, but the comedy and the love and the talent from these guys was amazing. And just being in the studio with them every week was a lesson. So I'm not sure exactly a specific thing, but whatever I could absorb in those sessions, I hope I took with me to the rest of the work that I've done. I think so. It's been an honor to be with these guys. This is the most talented, lovely, giving, charitable, incredible people. So, a good experience and good friends.
The main thing I think I learned was the extent to which a high tide raises all boats. The smartest thing I ever did when I moved to LA was surround myself with people who scared the hell out of me in terms of their talent. Because I thought, okay, it's time for you to go jump in the big kids school. But I want to find people who can I can learn from. Not only in class, a lot of studying, classes and showcases, but same thing. To work with people who are so smart. I'm better, and it's not false modesty. We're good at our jobs, but we're way better when we're around other people who make us better. And it's just really a metaphor for life without getting too existential. It really is. It's the more people you surround yourself with who are better than you at what you're doing, and you're smart enough to know it, makes you a better person. Hopefully it's someone you marry, or it's someone that you work with, you have mentors, and they don't have to be older than you. And so, yeah, I got to work with the best of the best. And it also gives you a bit of confidence when you're working on a huge hit, because you get a little swagger. You go, oh, dude, you're right now. You're able. And it's pretty cool when you go to work on something that's a big deal, and then somebody who's directing or is a producer says, when you pitch a show, you go to Netflix or wherever and say, here's my stuff, and they say, great, and we'll send it to the higher ups. Rob, before you leave, would you hang on a second, bring out a Ninja Turtle pop figure? Somebody who's an executive at Netflix, and they just say, oh yeah, great pitch. Would you sign my pop figure? What a gift. Yeah.
And with that, before we go, I have one thing to say, because you've only heard 5,000 million times. Thank you both for my 7-year-old and I. It is as a geek, and he couldn't be here this weekend with his mom. Thank you so much. You get to get I'm popping my cherry with you too. Sorry.
So one
Huntington, thank you so much.
One thing we always do at the end of our show, our panels, is we would really like you guys to join us in the biggest, loudest turtle power you can scream. On 3. Okay, ready? All right. 1, 2, 3.